Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Tuesday weather update for October the 11th. We are tracking two big lows and two big highs. On the animated wind map today, not hard to miss the lows. The first one around the Great Australian Bight, the second one up here near Tonga, and we've got two big high pressure zones which are controlling both of those lows. So these highs are going to slow down the movement of this one until the weekend, and then this low near Australia is going to be blocked by the Tasman high, and that's really going to increase the rainfall totals around Victoria and Tasmania, basically either side of Bass Strait. There's not a lot to talk about in New Zealand this week, so we've got a couple of extra maps for those of you in Tasmania and Victoria dealing with the heavy rain. But we kick off with the Wednesday air pressure map, and very clearly that storm south of Australia, quite a large one, and now the rain clouds starting to build up with that windy northerly, and that's being held up by that big high, or being encouraged, those northerlies, by the high in the Tasman. The high in the Tasman's also bringing settled weather to the South Island, but we've got easterly winds around the north and one or two showers, and that low still stuck up in the subtropics. As we get to Thursday, no real change with that low. Still got plenty of easterlies around the North Island, and we've got, as you can see, showers and drizzle patches sort of stuck around the island, but mostly dry in the south. And now this low starts to unravel a wee bit, but it moves into this big high pressure system, and the rain clouds all just get held up. And so with these northerlies and 36 hours at least of rain, those totals are really going to lift up around Victoria and Tasmania in particular. Like I say, either side of Bass Strait, that's where you're seeing the bulk of the rain. A burst of rain also for Adelaide, but not quite as much as what you're going to be seeing further to the east. And then here on Friday, that front finally punching out of Australia and into the Tasman Sea, but it brings rain to coastal New South Wales and Sydney, and a little bit of shower activity later in the day, end of the day for Brisbane. Meanwhile, on Friday, the easterly winds are carrying on around the north. We've had them for nearly a week, and a good point, someone mentioned this on YouTube yesterday as we're talking about it being warmer than average, saying that wind is not very warm, and I agree with you. Even in the far north, Northland and Auckland, and a few other areas as well, that easterly wind isn't overly warm at the moment, but generally speaking, we're still warmer than average for most parts of the country. So Friday's when things finally clear, but let's take a look at the rainfall map for the next 3 days. This is through until lunchtime on Saturday. The heaviest rain is in Tasmania, now up to 200 millimetres falling on the northern ranges. Very good for the hydro dams, but maybe not so good for other people. And then in the Victoria area, the bulk of the rain here, just north and northeast of Melbourne and the hills and ranges, but there's a lot of rain falling in the plains all the way up to Swan Hill. So that's a concern, and obviously feeding into the Murray River catchment. So even though the rain is not that heavy, where the river leaves Australia, further up in the catchment, it's significant, still getting around 70 to 120 millimetres of rain. And just a closer look at those areas with the heaviest rain, right here in the blue, that's getting up to 150 to 200 millimetres for some parts of Tasmania. And then the heaviest falls up here, mostly between Bendigo and Melbourne. And again, that's concerning because of the plains, the flats out there. Flooding could be a problem. So slips and flooding. For the slips, you need a hill, so you might not get too many of those around the Melbourne side, but certainly up in the hills and ranges, we are looking at a chance of that. Now back to the rain maps. Here we are on lunchtime Saturday, and we've got that low getting very close to New Zealand, so the surfers will like that. The professional ones, got blustery winds, swells developing, although the wind's probably not the best direction for you. And then we get into Sunday, and that low right off the coastline there, not too deep, into the 990s, close to 1,000 hectopascals, a bit of rain down around Fiordland, but otherwise not too unsettled. But once again, Hawke's Bay and Gisborne, shouldering the worst of the weather for the North Island. Plenty of cloud, plenty of showers still coming up for the next week or so ahead. And that is all from me. See you again on Wednesday with our next update.